Chapter 204. Boom! Under that sword light, the scales on the iron scale beast's chest had been torn apart. Dark red blood splashed everywhere, and its whole body was blown backwards. While flying backwards, the beast's cold eyes were filled with confusion. It could not understand why Yi Chen, who was not its opponent before, had suddenly become so powerful. The power of that sword attack had reminded it of the Wind Wolf, which had the bloodline of ancient beasts. Once, when they were fighting for territory, Yi Chen had broken through its defense with only one claw attack and forced it to run for its life. No matter what, the iron scale beast was still a top-rank 6 beast. It twisted its body and stopped its retreat immediately. The fist-sized scales on its body started to shake together, looking like countless sharp blades. Its already huge body looked even more powerful than before. The iron scale beast roared 3 times, and its neck suddenly thickened. It opened its mouth and shot out an extremely condensed red beast chi towards Yi Chen. The beast chi was like a spear, with the tip of the spear in a spiral shape. Separate. Leaving a Zhen Qi shadow where he was standing, Yi Chen's real body drew a perfect arc in the air, attacking the iron scale beast from the side. That kind of speed and smoothness was way beyond what it had been before. Even the iron scale beast thought that the Zhen Qi shadow was its real body. The second the Zhen Qi shadow was shattered, Yi Chen's attack had also arrived. His star scar sword carried a sharp light as it pierced through the beast's neck. Blood puked out. The iron scale beast felt like its throat was blocked by someone. It wanted to scream, but it could not. Its body was like a sieve shaking non-stop. Cut! With the increase of his cultivation, the power of his one-sword kill had increased drastically. The sword sliced through the wound of the iron scale beast, leaving behind a 3-foot-long wound. That sword attack should have been enough to blow away the iron scale beast, but it was unexpectedly able to withstand the impact and raise up its 3 to 4 meters long right claw, attacking towards Yi Chen. That sharp claw light tore through the air, and the sharp screeching sound could almost shatter people's eardrums. Yi Chen turned his left palm into a fist and performed the 4th movement of the Tyrant Fist art, attacking towards the right claw of the iron scale beast. With a thunderous sound, the human and the beast backed out at the same time. The difference was that the iron scale beast's body was rolling backwards, while Yi Chen's feet were rubbing against the air, leaving a light white chi wave in the air. Looking at the claw mark on his fist, Yi Chen was shocked. Demonic beasts were best at close combat, and only a small portion of them were good at long-range attacks. The iron scale beast's claw was as hard as a low-rank great weapon, and it contained an extremely hot beast chi. Under one claw attack, even a peak-level late-clasping Yuan Realm warrior would be killed. If it weren't for the fact that the 4th movement of the Tyrant Fist art was as powerful as a mid-rank Earth Realm martial skill, and that he had trained the King Kong Jade body and added the sword intent to his fist, that claw attack would have shattered his left arm completely. I mainly train sword arts, so I don't need a lot of fist arts. But the Tyrant Fist art is obviously not able to keep up with me. I have to find another high-rank fist art to replace it. Or when I have enough knowledge, I can combine the 4 movements of the Tyrant Fist art into one. That way, it would have the power of a high-rank Earth Realm martial skill. Thinking about that, Yi Chen's body kept flashing. 4 Zhen Qi shadows appeared one after another, and his real body appeared on the right side of the iron scale beast within a second, stabbing into its eye. The killing intent of the lone peak kill was way too sharp. The iron scale beast was confused by the Zhen Qi shadow for a second. Then under the effect of the killing intent, it could not move at all. By the time it was able to control its body perfectly, the sword tip had already pierced into its eye socket. Swoosh! Pulling out his star scar sword, Yi Chen backed out quickly. He knew that the iron scale beast, which had lost one eye, would definitely go crazy for a while, so it was not a good idea to get too close to it. He decided to wait for it to use up some of its energy before finishing it off. Just as expected, the pain of having its left eye pierced enraged the iron scale beast. Its remaining eye instantly turned red, glowing with a blood-red light. Immediately after, the red demonic aura on its body was like boiling water, violently fluctuating and soaring into the sky. Shoo! A red light flashed in the air, and the iron scale beast appeared in front of Yi Chen within a second, landing a claw on his head. His head had been shattered, but it was not Yi Chen's real body. Yi Chen's real body was behind the iron scale beast, and he stabbed into its back leg. The iron scale beast was about to go crazy. The wind wolf could beat it because it was powerful enough, while Yi Chen's power was obviously not that much more powerful than it, but he was still able to suppress it completely. The scales on its body suddenly stood up. The iron scale beast shook its body, and countless sharp scales shot out in all directions, making a continuous swooshing sound. After stabbing the beast's hind limb, Yi Chen had already stepped back 100 meters away. Although the scales were still flying at him, they were still too far away. Therefore, they were blocked by Yi Chen's sword light and his protective Zhanqi layer. The scales fell down in all directions, unable to hurt him at all. The iron scale beast had not reached the point where it could grow scales all at once. With so many scales shooting out at once, many parts of its body were bare, and its defense had dropped drastically. Following the muscles and bones, Yi Chen found the second fatal weakness of the iron scale beast, which was a light-colored line on its back. Tornado broke in clouds. With this discovery, Yi Chen came up with a battle plan. He waved his star scar sword in the air, and the sword chi rose up, bringing up a tornado that was powerful enough to cut through steel. It wrapped around Yi Chen and attacked towards the iron scale beast. After shooting out the scales, the iron scale beast's body froze, and it was sucked into the tornado. Kill! In the upper half of the tornado, Yi Chen held the sword with both of his hands and stabbed into the light-colored line. It went 3 feet deep, and then he pulled it back, cutting open the back of the iron scale beast along the light-colored line. The iron scale beast screamed into the sky, tried its best to struggle trying to get rid of Yi Chen. However, the star scar sword had been stabbed deep into its body, so how could it get rid of Yi Chen easily? Its life force and stamina started to leak out like a broken balloon. After a few blinks of an eye, the iron scale beast's body softened and fell from the sky. Finally dead. Yi Chen could sense that the iron scale beast's life force had been completely drained. Its body was not as tough as before but a bit soft. It was the sign of losing a huge amount of its beast chi and life force. Without the support of its life force and the powerful beast chi, the iron scale beast's defense was not even as powerful as a rank 4 beast. Boom! The dead body of the iron scale beast smashed a hole on the ground. Yi Chen jumped aside. Waving his star scar sword, Yi Chen soon took out the beast's inner pellet. After thinking for a while, he also pried out the beast's claws. It was a pure sharp weapon, and with the beast chi it contained, it would not be any weaker than a low-rank great weapon. In this true spirit continent, there were some great weapons that were made from the bones of beasts. Under special circumstances, they could trigger some unexpected effects. Owa! Owa! After collecting all the materials, Yi Chen's ears twitched. From 1,000 miles away, there was a sky-shaking roar. Vaguely, he could even feel that the airflow in the surreal space had increased a lot. It is a rank 7 beast. No, it is a rank 8 beast. Yi Chen's expression changed drastically. A rank 7 beast would be able to kill him within a second, and a rank 8 beast would only need to roar once, and it would probably be able to shatter his soul completely. This small beast wave was indeed not that simple. Not only were there a lot more rank 7 beasts, even rank 8 beasts had started to appear. It looked like it was going to become a mid-sized beast wave. Extending his body, Yi Chen flew towards the gold tripod city. On the wall of the gold tripod city, there were a lot of astral-reaching realm warriors standing on top of it. The Black Crow Man frowned. That roar just now even made me feel a little bit scared. I am afraid it is not a rank 7 beast, but a rank 8 beast. The Fire Spirit said, as long as the rank 9 beasts do not show up, the gold tripod city will be as stable as a mountain. As for the rank 8 beasts appearing in this small beast wave, it is indeed confusing. Perhaps this 100 years is the peak of the beast wave. From the ancient times until now, there had been countless beast waves. From the records, there was a pattern. The beast waves of the same rank would increase or decrease by a certain amount. Once it reached a certain level, it would suddenly increase again, reaching a certain peak. It should be. Besides a few astral-reaching realm warriors on the wall, most of them were clasping Yuan realm warriors. Look, the young generation has finally arrived. The beast tide this time isn't that dangerous. The surrounding large sects will definitely send the best of the younger generation to participate in the battle. Only through endless battles can one make breakthroughs faster and improve further. That is the head disciple Meng Chao and the second disciple Tian Hao from the rank 7 martial institution, the Alchemist Martial School. Meng Chao was ranked 40 in the last hidden dragon rank. His power is even more powerful than a lot of older clasping Yuan realm warriors. The head disciple of the Green Eagle Palace is here as well. And the 4th Knight and the 6th Knight of the Moon Pavilion's 7 Knights are here as well. These two do not belong to any martial institutions. They are purely young warriors trained by the Moon Pavilion. However, they did not make it to the last hidden dragon rank. I heard that their power is not below the top 40, and they might be able to make it to the top 30. As time went on, the young warriors started to show up one after another, including Tian Hao, who had just parted ways with Yi Chan. His power was considered average among this group of people. A few of them had even shocked the clasping Yuan realm warriors on the wall. The most outstanding ones would be the 4th Knight and the 6th Knight of the Moon Pavilion. These two were both mid-clasping Yuan realm warriors. They had a cold expression on their faces, and the qi coming from their bodies was extremely sharp. What a disappointment! I thought I would be able to find some interesting young warriors in the Gold Tripod City. The 6th Knight was a teenager. His eyes were slightly squinted like a poisonous snake. Guolanhua chuckled. The news of the beast wave had just spread out not long ago. I am afraid those who are far away would not be able to come. As she spoke, she thought of Yi Chan. This guy was not even 18 years old and he was extremely talented in battling. Unfortunately, his cultivation was still a bit low, and he did not have enough experience. If he could join the Moon Pavilion, he would only be a backup member of the 7 Knights. Once he was powerful enough, he would be able to compete for the official members. The 7 Knights was a group of 7 young warriors. Every one of them was a top warrior among the young generation. Right now, 3 of them were from other martial institutions, and the other 4 were trained by the Moon Pavilion itself. The 4th Knight and the 6th Knight were indeed the young warriors trained by the Moon Pavilion. They were quite valued by the leader of the pavilion. This time, when the beast wave broke out, they had been sent over immediately. The tall and cold-looking 4th Knight said lightly, "Our battle will be in the next hidden dragon rank. This is just an appetizer. No need to care too much." Chapter 205. Guolanhua said, "All right, let's go into the city first." She had come out of the city to greet the two when she saw them coming. After all, in the Moon Pavilion, Qi Ye's status was even higher than the manager, which meant that he did not care about anything. Shoo! 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 The 3 of them extended their bodies and flew onto the city wall directly. "Tian Hao, you said that the person who saved your life was almost as powerful as me. Are you kidding me? What was his rank in the last hidden dragon rank?" Meng Chao looked at Tian Hao with a sneer. In the Alchemist Martial School, he was always the one with the most power. Therefore, he must be jealous of him and wanted to find someone to beat him up. Tian Hao said, "If I am not wrong, he will definitely come to the Gold Tripod City as well. By then we will know for sure." Meng Chao said in disdain, "If it were 2 years ago, I might not be his opponent. But after 2 years my power has not only increased by a little but more than 2 times. The top martial art in our martial school, the high-rank Earth Realm martial art, the Red Burning Great Art, has also been trained to the 9th level by me. What does he have to compete with me? As for the sword intent you mentioned, it is not even worth mentioning. In the last Hidden Dragon rank competitions, I had beaten a sword artist who had the sword intent. Perhaps for most of the people, the sword intent was very rare and powerful. But for the young warriors who were ranked in the Hidden Dragon rank, there were way too many people who had the sword intent. Not to mention the older generation, there were already more than 10 young warriors who had the sword intent. There might even be some of them who did not participate in the competitions because they were not powerful enough. Therefore, for Meng Chao, what he cared about was power. He did not care about the sword intent or the blade intent or anything else. Tian Hao said, "You will know when you see him." Actually, he was not sure if Yi Chan could win against Meng Chao. As the head disciple of the Alchemist Martial School, Meng Chao had trained all the top martial arts in the martial school, such as the high-rank Earth Realm martial art Red Great Art, which only a few core elders were qualified to train. Even he was not qualified. Besides that, Meng Chao's martial art was the Red Great Palm Art, which came with the Red Great Palm Art. Both of them complemented each other. and their combined power was far more powerful than two high-rank Earth Realm martial arts. As for mentioning Yi Chen's name, it was a slip of the tongue. Therefore he had no choice but to keep it up. After all, Yi Chen was indeed powerful. A normal rank 6 beast could not even take one sword attack from him. The Supreme Elder of the Alchemist faction said, "Alright, stop talking. Tian Hao, it's not that I want to criticize you, but your first senior brother's strength is obvious to all. Not everyone can surpass him." Yes. Since the Grand Elder had spoken, Tian Hao didn't dare to talk back. Dozens of famous young warriors landed on top of the city wall. They looked at each other with a strong fighting intent. The sixth knight glanced at Meng Chao and said with an evil smile, "Among all of us, he is the only one with some power. I wonder if he can exchange a few attacks with me." Guolanyu smiled helplessly. The 7 knights in the Moon Pavilion all had their own characteristics. The sixth knight's specialty was his coldness and arrogance. However, he was indeed powerful. Even Guolanyu couldn't handle 3 attacks from him, and that was when he had not used all of his power. The 4th knight said calmly, "The powerful one is here." Yeah. The 6th knight and Guolanyu followed his gaze and looked out of the city. In the wilderness, a figure with a pair of black wings was flying towards them at an extreme speed. That pair of wings was about 4 to 5 meters long, and it looked so real. The sharp feathers were clearly visible. Wherever it went, the air around it was cut open. Its speed was even faster than the speed of sound, and it was not just a little bit. The fire spirit focused his eyes and laughed. "Black Crow, your disciple is here." The Black Crow man laughed. "This brat, he is just hanging around. I thought he was training hard in the sky-flying demon martial school." "Don't be so dissatisfied. Your disciple has trained the same martial art as you, the Black Crow Great Art. He should have reached the 10th realm by now, right? He was only at the 10th realm 3 months ago." The Black Crow Great Art is a high-rank Earth Realm martial art. It has 13 realms in total. Training to the 10th realm would almost be able to reach the top 20 of this year's Hidden Dragon rank. While the two were talking, the battling intent of the young generation had been ignited. Meng Chao stared at the winged teenager and said word by word, "The 25th of the Hidden Dragon rank, Wu Liangyu. This time I will definitely fight you to see who is better." In the last Hidden Dragon rank competitions, he had lost to 3 people. One of them was indeed the disciple of the Black Crow man, Wu Liangyu, who was ranked 25th in the Hidden Dragon rank. He was a famous warrior in the whole South Rudra region. The great master of the Alchemist Martial School said, "I am afraid his Black Crow Great Art has been trained to the 10th realm. If you can also train your Red Burning Great Art to the 10th realm, you will have a great chance to beat him." Meng Chao said, "My Red Burning Great Art and Red Burning Great Palm Art are a set of martial arts. The power they can bring out is extremely powerful. With my current power I might be able to beat him." The elder shook his head. "It would be difficult, very difficult." The Black Crow Great Art was different from the other high-rank Earth Realm martial arts. Not only was it extremely fast, but the attacking power of that pair of wings was also very high. It was way harder than the Great Steel, only slightly weaker than a low-rank great weapon. Among the same rank martial arts, it was almost one of the top ones. On the other side, Wu Liangyu, I am not his opponent. Out of Guolanyu's expectation, the 6th knight admitted that he was not Wu Liangyu's opponent. Guolanyu said, "Although our Moon Pavilion is not a martial institution, we are way more powerful than the normal rank 7 martial institutions. In some aspects, we are even more powerful than the rank 6 martial institutions. As long as you guys work hard enough, the Moon Pavilion will definitely support you with all of our power. We will spread the name of Wu Liangyu across the whole South Rudra region, and even the whole True Spirit continent." The 4th knight did not say anything. She was trying to figure out Wu Liangyu's power from his qi. Eventually, she came to the conclusion that Wu Liangyu's power should be able to compete with the 3rd knight. As for herself, she might not lose to him either. Half a year ago, she had battled with the 3rd knight, and she had only lost to him by 1 attack. Shoo! The pitch-black wings retracted, and Wu Liangyu appeared right next to the Black Crow man. He said with respect, "Teacher." The Black Crow man nodded. "You came at the right time. After this beast wave battle, I hope you can learn more." "I will." This year's Hidden Dragon rank competition, My goal is to be in the top 10. Good. Ambitious. But ambition alone is not enough. There are countless martial geniuses in the whole South Rudra region, and you are not the only one who has improved. Everyone is working hard to train. Also, let me introduce you. This is the fire spirit that I have always told you about. He is my opponent. Greetings, fire spirit. After greeting, Wu Liangyu looked around. Other than pausing slightly on the fourth night, he completely ignored everyone else. Wu Liangyu is here as well. He is the third disciple of the Sky-Flying Devil Martial School. His talent is only below the head disciple, the Demon Eye, and the second disciple Murong Qingcheng. What I am curious about is that Murong Qingcheng's rank is even lower than Wu Liangyu's. Why is she the second disciple of the Sky-Flying Devil Martial School? Normally, the second disciple should be Wu Liangyu. I do not know about that either. Maybe there is something else. Do not underestimate Murong Qingcheng. I have watched the last Hidden Dragon rank competition, and Murong Qingcheng did not seem to use all of her power. Plus, the martial art that she has trained is even more powerful than the Black Crow Great Art. It is one of the top 2 martial arts of the Sky-Flying Devil Martial School, the Sky Demon Great Art. Wu Liangyu's arrival had raised the discussion on the city wall. Another young warrior has come. Who is that? His cultivation is quite good. At the mid-class Bingyuan realm, some of the people had sharp eyes. They immediately saw a very young figure flying towards them from 8 miles away. Although his speed was not as fast as Wu Liangyu, his cultivation was not that far off. I have never seen him before. I think he is a new warrior who has just appeared out of nowhere. Yeah, his cultivation is quite good. I wonder about his battling power. Among the young generation, battling power is the most important thing. Cultivation is the last thing. Hearing the people talking, Tianhao could not help but look over. He could not help but say, "He is Yi-chan, brother Yi." Meng Chao said, "No wonder you are so impressed with him. He is a mid-class Bingyuan realm warrior. But cultivation is nothing." Without arguing with Meng Chao, Tianhao waved at Yi-chan, brother Yi, over here. Flying in the air, Yi-chan heard Tianhao's voice. He hesitated a little bit but still shot towards that direction. His body dragged out an extremely thin chi wave in the air. The second Yi-chan got close to the city wall. Meng Chao took a step forward and said lightly, "Let me test him. I want to see how weak the person you admire is." Boom! A red fire wave shot out of Meng Chao's body, attacking towards Yi-chan. Wherever the fire wave went, the air was evaporated, turning into a vacuum. Break! Yi-chan did not change his expression. His palm was like a blade cutting on the fire wave. Swoosh! The fire wave was cut open, and Yi-chan's body had already landed next to Tianhao. Tianhao said to Meng Chao with a bit of anger, "Meng Chao, what is the meaning of this?" Meng Chao did not care about Tianhao's attitude. He studied Yi-chan and said, "Not bad. You managed to break through one of my random attacks. You do have some skills." Yi-chan said lightly, "I see. No wonder you are so weak." You. Meng Chao's eyes darkened. How could he not understand what Tianhao meant? He was saying that his random attack was very weak. "Brother Yi, let's talk over here." Tianhao did not want Meng Chao and Yi-chan to have a conflict because of him. He had already blamed himself for spilling the beans earlier. Alright. Yi-chan walked past Meng Chao and stood next to Tianhao. "I hope you can be just as powerful on the battlefield." Meng Chao was not the kind of person who would try to beat his opponent out of impulse. For him, the main purpose of this trip was to fight against the beasts. During the battle, everyone's power would be revealed. After all, there would not be millions of beasts but millions of them. Without a certain power, it would be very hard for them to win. Who was weaker and who was more powerful would be revealed. How is this possible? That little brat has reached the mid-class Bingyuan realm. As someone who had been with Yi-chan for half a month, Guolanhua was very shocked. A couple of hours ago, he was still at the peak-level early-class Bingyuan realm, but after a couple of hours, he had reached the mid-class Bingyuan realm. Judging solely on his training speed, it was definitely shocking. He had probably reached his limit during the tough battle against the Iron Scale beasts. Alright, the 4th and 6th Knights of the Moon Pavilion are here. With them here, this little brat would definitely feel a lot of pressure. He might even join the Moon Pavilion and try his best to become an official member of the 7 Knights to prove his power. A smile appeared on the corner of Gualanue's mouth. She was in a good mood. Chapter 206. Everyone thought that the beasts would arrive one after another. However, after waiting for 3 days, besides seeing 1 or 2 groups of beasts, nothing had happened. It seems like the beasts have learned to be smart. They know that coming in batches would not help, and would only give us time to breathe. Without any surprises, the beasts are preparing for a big battle. They will gather all the beasts to attack the gold tripod city. Although this small beast wave is not simple, there are dozens of astral-reaching realm warriors gathered in the gold tripod city, thousands of clasping yuan realm warriors, and countless condensing reality realm warriors. Even if there were millions of beasts, they would not be able to take down the gold tripod city. You are right. Before, a lot of rank 7 beasts had already been killed. There should not be more than 5 rank 7 beasts left. Adding a rank 8 beast, the gold tripod city would still have the upper hand. Later on, the gold tripod city would become the training ground for the young generation. I can't wait. Not only the young generation, but we will also have the chance to reach the next level. Although we will not be able to have the same achievement as the young generation, there is still hope for us to reach the next level. The beast's strange behavior did not make the warriors in the gold tripod city feel depressed. Instead, they were all excited, looking forward to the big battle. On the 7th day, a small amount of warriors went up to the top of the wall to check out the situation. There were more than 2 million warriors in the gold tripod city, and even a small part of them would be around 300,000 to 400,000. The good thing was that the gold tripod city's wall was more than 100 miles long, and the 4 sections of the wall added up to more than 400 miles. If they stood side by side, it would be able to fit 200,000 warriors. Adding the width of the wall, it would not be crowded at all. On the west side of the wall, Yichan and Tianhao stood side by side. It is already the 7th day, and I have not even seen a shadow of the beasts. Compared to Yichan, Tianhao was more eager to increase his power, since the next Hidden Dragon rank competition would start in 8 or 9 months. Yichan said, "It will take a while for the beasts to gather. No rush." Tianhao said, "The small beast wave is hard to come by in 30 years. Every time it happens, there would be a group of people who would be able to increase their power. I hope it will be my turn this time. If you're too impatient, it'll be counterproductive. It's most important to correct your mentality." Yichan had already increased his cultivation, and it would be very hard for him to improve again. But that was not his goal. He had only combined the 9th movement of the Lone Peak of 13 Swords, and every movement after that would be extremely difficult. This battle with the beasts would be a great opportunity. As for Tianhao's feelings, Yichan could understand. But he knew very well that on the path of martial arts, impatience was a big taboo, and he needed to have the right mentality. Tianhao exclaimed in surprise, "Sect Master said this to me before. It's exactly the same." Yichan didn't say anything. There were many things that needed to be comprehended by oneself. Only when one had comprehended it would it be considered one's own. Others could only guide you from the side. Roar! 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 Suddenly, a series of beast roars came from the silent wilderness. The roars were continuous, covering the sky and covering the earth. Even the air was boiling, creating ripples. As far as the eye could see, dozens of miles away, black beasts were approaching. It was like the water in a pond had been dyed black by ink, and the gold tripod city was the only clean place. The beasts are here. Along with the screams of many warriors, the warriors nearby were all woken up. 1 spread to 10, 10 spread to 100. Soon all the warriors rushed out of the streets, rushing to the top of the city wall. That kind of oppressive feeling made the normal residents of the gold tripod city nervous. Their hearts were beating fast. Actually, without the warning from the warriors on the city wall, everyone would have noticed the arrival of the beasts soon. It was because the sunny sky had suddenly darkened, and the beast chi had spread out everywhere, forming huge dark clouds. The clouds were covered with lightning, and there was a vague sound of thunder. Running up to the city wall to take a look, a lot of people gasped. So many beasts. There must be at least 10 million. More than that. I think there must be 20 million of them. I can't even see the end of them. If there were no astral reaching realm warriors, to be honest, I would be a bit scared. Who wouldn't be scared? 20 million beasts. It would be more than enough to destroy the gold tripod city. Among the endless demonic beasts, the most eye-catching ones were without a doubt the 6 huge demonic beasts. 5 of them were the size of small hills, and the one on the far left was the horned dragon snake that Yi-chan was familiar with. This horned dragon snake was covered in wounds, and one of the horns on its head was broken. It seemed like it had been through a huge battle and was badly wounded. Besides the horned dragon snake, there were 3 wolves, a mountain-like 6-eyed spider, a 3-tailed one-horned cow, and a silver lightning giant eagle that was covered in lightning. All of them were rank 7 demonic beasts, and the demonic chi on their bodies shot up into the sky, merging with the dark cloud-like demonic chi. In the middle of the 5 7th level demonic beasts was a ferocious ape. This ape was over 100 meters tall, and in terms of size, it couldn't even compare to the smallest 6-eyed spider. However, its aura completely surpassed all the other demonic beasts, and its ferocious aura was like a tsunami. It was a rank 8 beast, the King Kong demon ape. Let's go first. We don't want to get too close and damage the gold tripod city. The astral reaching realm warriors had made their moves. Once they made their moves, they attacked right at the 5 rank 7 beasts and that rank 8 beast, the King Kong demon ape. In their eyes, only rank 7 beasts and rank 8 beasts were worth their time. Everything below rank 7 was just like ants, and it would be best to leave it to the young ones. Roar! Attacking the King Kong demon ape were 3 mid-astral reaching realm warriors, and 1 peak-level mid-astral reaching realm warrior. With the combined power of the 4 of them, even if the King Kong demon ape was extremely aggressive, it would not be able to do anything. As for the remaining 10 astral reaching realm warriors, they had also teamed up, each finding a rank 7 beast and starting to fight with it. A fire in the city would bring disaster to the fish in the moat. Usually, when a rank 7 beast and an astral reaching realm warrior clashed, thousands of beasts would be killed by the shockwave, without leaving any bones behind. The King Kong demon ape was extremely intelligent. It knew that if it continued like this, even the 20 million beasts would not be able to handle it. It would have to fight outside of the beast group. Boom! The ground cracked open as the King Kong demon ape jumped a couple of miles away. Chase! The 4 astral reaching realm warriors chased closely. Seeing the King Kong demon ape's actions, the horned dragon python and the other level 7 demonic beasts knew what was going on. They summoned their demonic chi and rushed in the direction the King Kong demon ape had left. You don't want to hurt the beasts, but we don't want to hurt the gold tripod city either. That's exactly what I want. Haha, just now we exchanged a few moves, and at least tens of thousands of demonic beasts died. No wonder the adamantine demon ape wanted to leave and find an open space to fight again. If it were a one-on-one battle, none of the astral reaching realm warriors would have the confidence to win against a rank 7 beast. But, if the 2 of them joined hands, they would have a much higher chance of winning. At least they would be able to guarantee that they would not die. Since that was the case, there was nothing to worry about. Once the rank 7 beasts, rank 8 beasts, and astral reaching realm warriors had left, it would be the final battle between the gold tripod city warriors and the beasts. When the beasts were less than 3 miles away from the gold tripod city, a warrior rushed down the city wall and shouted, "Kill! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Countless warriors rushed down, their aura increasing drastically. The first one to attack was none other than Wu Liangyu, who was extremely fast. Both of his hands shook, and his body was like lightning. His speed was even faster than the speed of sound. The warriors with lower cultivation could not even see his shadow. They could only see the black chi waves forming into a line. Death cut. His body turned from extreme movement to extreme stillness. Wu Liangyu flapped his wings in front of him. 2 black cutting waves intersected with each other, turning into a 10 meters huge cross-cutting wave. It was only one attack, but 60 to 70 beasts had been torn into pieces. The aftermath of the attack left a huge cross on the ground, which was extremely shocking. After that, Yi-chan and the rest of the warriors also started to attack. Taking out his star scar sword, Yi-chan did not try to show off on purpose. He performed his Sky Cloud Sword Art's Tornado Broken Clouds, which had the widest attack range towards the beast wave. The sword chi twisted the chi flow, forming a light blue tornado. The tornado carried a horrifying aura as it roared and attacked the beast wave within a second. Shoo! 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 All the demonic beasts below level 5 were sucked into the tornado and sliced into pieces. The level 5 demonic beasts couldn't help but get closer to the tornado under the powerful rotating force. They revolved around the tornado and were pierced by the sword chi that shot out. Owa! A two-headed wolf king rushed out of the tornado's range, jumping towards Yi-chan. Cut! Yi-chan did not even look at it as he raised his Starscar sword up high. A huge amount of blood spilled out. The two heads of the two-headed wolf king had been cut off. Its body fell down from the sky, sliding on the ground. Red cut godly palm. Not far away, Meng Chao's whole body was covered in fire. He threw out a palm attack, and that burning fire Zhen Qi condensed into a 10 meters huge palm. There was a red flame burning on the surface of that palm. The horrifying temperature had evaporated a huge part of the air as it slammed down towards the beast wave. Boom! The ground shook, and a huge palm print appeared on the ground. All the beasts within its range had been crushed into ashes, merging into the ground. Huh! Meng Chao took a look at Yi-chan. Yi-chan did not pay attention to Meng Chao. He had his own goal, which was to completely merge the Lone Peak kill. By then, judging solely on attacking power, the Lone Peak kill would be way more powerful than the one-sword attack. 100 Snake Attack. The Sixth Knight's martial skill was very strange. He stretched out both of his arms, and Zhen Qi poured out from his palms, turning into huge snakes that were as thick as a human's thighs. Those Zhen Qi snakes made a hissing sound as they slithered on the ground. Their speed was unbelievably fast, piercing through all the beasts that jumped on them. Compared to the Sixth Knight, the Fourth Knight, who was a female, looked more masculine and violent. She lifted up her right arm, bent her upper body, and threw out a punch onto the ground. Boom! With the Fourth Knight as the starting point, 3 mud mounds shot out, exploding in the beast wave. The number of beasts killed was even more than the Sixth Knight. However, she was not that lucky. 3 rank 6 flying beasts were attracted by her attack. They screamed and dove towards her at the same time. Break! The Fourth Knight's eyes were like lightning. Her right arm disappeared all of a sudden. Then hundreds of fist shadows appeared in the air. The protective beast chi of the rank 6 beasts was as fragile as a piece of paper under the fist shadows. Even their owners were blown into pieces. So powerful. It was the first time for Guolanhua to see the Fourth Knight attack, so she could not help but feel shocked. Chapter 207. Turning her head to look for Yi-chan, Guolanhua thought to herself, "Did you see that? This was the power of the 7 knights. Every one of them was a top warrior among the young generation. In the South Rudra region, even the rank 6 martial institutions would not be able to compete with the Moon Pavilion in this aspect. The 7 knights would be famous one day. Hey! Attendant Gua, don't get distracted." The 6th knight had taken care of a rank 6 beast that was attacking Guolanhua, reminding her, who was still looking for Yi-chan. Guolanhua smiled apologetically. There were too many people and beasts, and Yi-chan did not seem to like being high profile. She could not find him no matter how hard she tried. Death Tornado. Among the young generation, the one with the highest profile was without a doubt Wu Liangyu, who was ranked 25 in the last hidden dragon rank. He flapped his wings and the pitch-black light shone brightly. Countless arc-shaped cutting waves stacked on top of each other, forming into a tornado-like attack wave, attacking the beast waves again and again. This is way too exaggerated. This attack has killed at least 100 beasts, including 3 rank 6 beasts. Back in the day, the Black Crow Man had become famous in the South Rudra region with his Black Crow great art. Right now, Wu Liangyu is way more powerful than the Black Crow Man when he was young. Normal peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm warriors might not even be able to compete with him. The 10th realm of the Black Crow great art. How despairing! Looking at the crisscrossing cracks on the ground, a lot of the warriors around could not help but click their tongues. So powerful! He is indeed the #1 warrior among the young generation in the Gold Tripod City. In this year's Hidden Dragon rank competitions, he might be able to make it into the top 20, or even the top 15, shocking the whole South Rudra region. Murong Qingcheng, in the last Hidden Dragon rank competition, I know that you did not use all of your power, and only used the 6th realm of the Sky Demon Great Art to fight. You had already reached the 7th realm, and right now you should be at around the 8th realm. Although the Sky Demon Great Art is a top-rank Earth realm martial art, the difference should not be that big. With my 10th realm of the Black Crow Great Art, I will definitely be able to beat you and make you my woman. As for this year's Hidden Dragon rank competition, I will definitely be able to get into the top 10. With the secret martial art that I have prepared for so long, who would be able to beat me after the top 10? Wu Liangyu was in high spirits. The Black Crow man had 3 disciples, and the other 2 had only trained their Black Crow Great Art to the 7th and 8th realm. Only he had trained it to the 10th realm. In just 2 years, he had trained a high-rank Earth realm martial art to the 10th realm. This speed was definitely super fast. Thinking about what happened in the Hidden Dragon rank competition, Wu Liangyu could not help but yell out loud. Boom! A circle of black shockwaves spread out from Wu Liangyu's body, blowing away all the demonic beasts nearby, their bodies disintegrating in the air. Lone Peak kill. Giving up on the wide-range attacking sword art, Yichun started to focus on preparing for the merging of the Lone Peak 13 swords. His body kept moving, and with every step he took, the Star Scar sword in his hand would throw out a sword attack. With each sword attack, another demonic beast would be killed. Even rank 6 beasts were no exception. Faster, faster. I need to be faster. Directly starting from the sword movement, the merging speed would be very slow. Yichun had to find another way, which was to perform the Lone Peak kill at an absolute speed, and then learn that bit of extreme silence from that extreme speed. The Lone Peak kill needed that bit of extreme silence, and only by learning the extreme silence would he be able to merge the Lone Peak kill faster. Shoo! 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 In front of everyone's confusion, Yichun pushed his separating shadow flying art to its limit. The sword light kept flashing like a flying horse in the sky. Every time he threw out a sword attack, the angle was completely different, but it was still possible to see the similarities between each sword attack. One after another, the demonic beasts fell down. All of their wounds were fatal. This guy's sword art is so sharp. Killing a demonic beast with one sword attack. Yeah, you are right. If he was aiming at me, I would not be able to dodge that sword attack. That sword attack was not that fast, but it still made my heart skip a beat. It is not that fast, but why do I feel that it is so fast? So fast that my eyes could not even see it. Yeah, it is indeed fast. Not fast. The demonic beasts in the front would not be that high in rank. Occasionally, the rank 6 beasts would be killed by the powerful warriors one by one. A lot of warriors did not feel that much pressure, so they focused on the young generation. There were also a lot of people who were paying attention to Yichun, but soon they had different opinions. The reason was whether Yichun's sword was fast or not. Some said it was super fast, while some said it was not as fast as the others. Wait, I feel that his sword is getting faster. Me too. Weird, why do I feel like it is getting slower? Soon the two sides had different opinions again. Yichun did not pay attention to the discussions around him. He was still doing what he wanted to do. Shoo! A rank 6 beast did not manage to react in time. A bloody hole appeared on its neck, and blood poured out. Indeed, it is starting to work. That sword attack of Yichun's was very casual, but its speed and power were surprisingly powerful. The rank 6 beast did not even have the time to react. However, I have reached a bottleneck in my comprehension of the extreme stillness. Now it is time to think in reverse and comprehend faster from the extreme stillness. Thoughts flashed through his mind from time to time, but Yichun had never felt this peaceful before. It was like he was just a passerby, watching himself perform his Lone Peak kill and listening to the voice in his head. His heart was calm and peaceful. Shoo! In most people's eyes, the sword in Yichun's hand had disappeared, and the eyes of the beast in front of him had lost the color of life. The beasts next to it had become very slow. The only thing that was not slow was Yichun's sword. His sword had already disappeared. If it were not for the slight pattern that appeared in the air when he threw out his sword, they would not even know if Yichun had thrown out his sword or not. But the most annoying thing was that a lot of people could see the trajectory of that sword, and the beast's speed seemed to be even faster. It seemed like those beasts had rushed to the tip of the sword themselves. So weird. Did you notice? There were a lot of clasping Yuan realm warriors in the gold tripod city. Among them, there were many peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warriors. Their power was even more powerful than most of the young warriors in the hidden dragon rank. Some of them could even kill the tyrant rank 6 beasts like the wind wolf and the black bear. Dozens of meters away, there were 2 warriors like that who had noticed Yi-chan. The one on the left had casually killed a rank 6 beast, so he frowned slightly. His sword art is sometimes fast and sometimes slow. He must be learning something. Old buddy, you are wrong this time. His sword art has always maintained the same speed. Only one sword attack would be unexpectedly fast. Eh? Let me see. After being mentioned by his partner, the one on the right was interested. Soon, he forced a smile and said, "Indeed. I have been fooled by the poetic perspective of his sword art. His sword will not change under most of the circumstances. I wonder what kind of poetic perspective it is. It makes people feel that it is sometimes fast and sometimes slow. It should be the poetic perspective of the mountains and rivers. The poetic perspective of the mountains and rivers." That person looked at him with surprise. The two of them had almost the same cultivation, both at the peak level late clasping Yuan realm. However, Yi-chan was able to kill the wind wolf, which had the bloodline of an ancient beast. He was way more powerful than him. With his eyes he could indeed tell something. Therefore he wanted to hear an explanation. The man shook his head. The mountains and rivers can be far and close. The sword art is sometimes fast and sometimes slow. Putting it all together, it is actually the mystery of space. When you stand close, the sword will of course arrive first. When you stand far away, the sword will arrive one step later. He uses the poetic perspective of the mountains and rivers to push his sword art. It will make people feel like the space is messed up, and they will lose their ability to judge. This is very scary. If a warrior's space sense is messed up for a short period of time, what do you think will happen? The one on the right let out a breath. Then of course they will die. Indeed. Not to mention anything else, if this guy continues to grow, his sword art will reach an extremely horrifying level. It will be way beyond our imagination. Is it really that mysterious? You can't see it with just one look. I am ashamed. I was lucky enough to talk to a sword artist who had mastered the completed sword intent. He said that holding a sword in one's hand will extend a certain distance compared to a bare-handed person. This distance is space. Therefore, sword artists especially need to train their space sense. If they don't make progress in the space sense, their sword intent will be like a beast locked in a cage. They will be trapped inside for the rest of their lives. A sword artist who has mastered the completed sword intent. TSK, this group of people are so abnormal and rare. Although there are 3,000 great Daos, each of them has a different direction of development. The sword art is undoubtedly the main killing art. One sword can kill one person and 10 sword can kill 10 people. It is truly a killing weapon. A sword artist who has mastered the sword intent is a real sword artist. Only they can push their sword art to a higher level, and they are qualified to learn the profound meaning of the sword art. Yi-chan did not hear what the two were talking about. If he did, he would be very surprised. He had only realized the importance of the space sense after he had mastered the Lone Peak 13 swords. He did not expect that there would already be a sword artist who knew about it, and it was even more detailed than him. Actually, Yi-chan did not know how powerful he was. Normally, a real sword artist would only realize the importance of the space sense after they had mastered the completed sword intent, or even the completed sword intent. Right now, his sword intent was only at 40%, and he had already mastered the space sense. If that sword artist who had mastered the completed sword intent knew about it, he would be even more surprised. As for people who did not use swords, they would not know much about it. There is a slow poetic perspective in fast, and a fast poetic perspective in slow. Right now I have almost achieved it. All I need is to make a breakthrough and combine the two. Without realizing it, Yi-chan had combined the 10th movement of the Lone Peak 13 swords. The power of his Lone Peak kill had increased to another level, and he had a deeper understanding of the fast poetic perspective, which was the poetic perspective of mountains and rivers. Unfortunately, the space did not change. What changed was people. If he ran into a powerful warrior, it would be hard to confuse him. If he ran into a sword artist with the same sword intent, the effect would not be as good. Faster. 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 Slow. Slower. Slower. Yi Chun, who had lost all his thoughts, kept performing the same sword attack, hoping that he could find something from it and find the opportunity to make a breakthrough. The beasts that were attacking Yi Chun were very frustrated. If he had used absolute power to kill them, they would not have been happy. But right now he did not give them any chance at all. With a random sword attack, they all died without knowing why. In their dim pupils, they could see the figures of their companions. Just like them, they all fell down one by one. All of their wounds were fatal. The battle had been going on from noon to night. Millions of beasts had died, and a lot of warriors had died as well. The ground was covered with minced meat and broken weapons. The blood had formed a river and dyed the ground outside of the gold tripod city red. It was a horrifying scene. Yi Chun, who did not know fatigue, was so light. Wherever his sword light reached, there would be death. It was easy to see that his sword art had improved again. It gave people a feeling of calmness. Right then, Guolanyue finally found Yi Chun. Chapter 208. His ace attacks have become even more powerful. How come they are so fast? With only one glance, Guolanyue had been attracted by Yi Chun's sword art. That back and forth, that seemingly casual sword attack seemed to be able to swallow all the eyes and attack the beasts from an unbelievable angle. Manager Gua, do you know him? The sixth knight licked his lips, looking at Yi Chun with interest. Guolanyue nodded. We have only known each other for half a month. Speaking of which, I was thinking of inviting him to join the Moon Pavilion. Unfortunately, I was rejected. Rejected to join the Moon Pavilion? What? Are you looking down on the Moon Pavilion and the Seven Knights? The sixth knight had a cold temperament, but he was very proud of the Seven Knights' name. Hearing her, his eyes squeezed into a line. A cold light shot out from the gap. His body flashed, turning into a blurry shadow as he jumped towards Yi Chun. Don't be impulsive. Guolanyue was a bit helpless. Besides the cold temperament, the sixth knight was fine. But he was way too impulsive. The fourth knight said lightly, let him go. I also want to see how powerful that person's sword art is. That's the only way. Guolanyue forced a smile, but she was also a little bit excited. One was the sixth knight, who was ranked sixth in the seven knights, and the other was a young warrior that she thought highly of. The battle between the two would definitely be interesting. Yi Chun, bring out all of your power. The sixth knight's speed was very fast and tricky. He was like a huge snake with explosive power, swimming in between the gaps of the beast wave. The second he went through, a row of beasts' bodies shot out blood pillars. These blood pillars intersected with each other, creating a bloody path for the sixth knight. Brat, you are very arrogant. Do you know that? From afar, the sixth knight's cold voice came into Yi Chun's ears. Yi Chun turned his head. What do you mean? The star scar sword in his hand did not stop because he was distracted. Instead, it became sharper and more unpredictable. Take one of my attacks first. 100 snake attack. Stretching out both of his arms, huge Zhanqi snakes that were as thick as a human's thighs came out of the sixth knight's palms, shooting towards Yi Chun at an extremely fast speed. Wherever the huge snakes went, the air was like water, creating waves of ripples. It was because the snakes were moving so fast that the air had been squeezed together. Ding 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 ding. After learning the poetic perspective, the Zhanqi snake speed was not that fast for Yi Chun. He waved his star scar sword, blocking out all of the snake's attacks. You have two moves, 100 snake explosion. The sixth knight sneered. His hands seemed to be grabbing something, and he clasped them together fiercely. Immediately, the Zhanqi serpents that had been severed by Yi Chun shot out with Yi Chun as the center. After that, they exploded one after another. No fire could be seen. Only the shattered air and the potholes on the ground showed how powerful the explosion was. If you want to fight, I'll fight with you. Yi Chun's figure appeared from behind sixth knight. What? The sixth knight was shocked. He had clearly seen Yi Chun being surrounded by the Zhanqi serpent just now. When did he escape? Why didn't he feel anything at all? Clenching his teeth, the sixth knight, at that critical moment, performed his ultimate counterattack 100 Snake Halo. Countless snake-shaped Zhanqi drilled out from the surface of his body, densely packed, and instantly combined into a powerful halo, spreading out in all directions. Yi Chen did not back out even one step. He held his sword with both of his hands and sliced out. A cloth-tearing sound was heard. That incoming halo was easily sliced open by that unbreakable sword light, while Yi Chen was naturally unharmed. The sixth knight, who had turned around, opened his eyes wide. There was an unconcealable shock in his cold pupils. His 100-snake halo had been sliced open just like that. How could he not be shocked? All right, I will use you to test out the power of my lone peak kill. Yi Chen could tell that the sixth knight was very powerful, and could compete with the older late-clasping Yuan realm warriors. However, right now he was even more powerful than before, and did not care about opponents at this level anymore. It would be perfect for him to test out his martial arts. The Star Scar sword shook, and Yi Chen threw out a simple sword attack towards the sixth knight. So fast. That was the sixth knight's first impression. In his eyes there was nothing, only that slight air pattern vibrating. His subconscious was telling him that the attack was coming, and he had to try his best to block it out. However, his body did not listen to him, and he could only watch that sword attack coming towards him. Yi Chen, please show some mercy. Seeing that, Guolanhua hurried to stop him. Shoo! A strand of black hair hanging on his shoulder was cut off. Yi Chen's sword had somehow appeared on the sixth knight's neck, maintaining a zero distance. Right then, the sixth knight had finally returned to normal. He did not dare to move an inch, since the Star Scar sword was extremely sharp. If he moved even a little bit, that sharp sword chi would definitely wound him. Moving the Star Scar sword away, Yi Chen looked at Guolanhua. What happened? Guolanhua looked embarrassed. It was a misunderstanding. It was all a misunderstanding. Thank you for holding back. I hope there will be fewer misunderstandings. I will not hold back every time I attack. If it were not for Guolanhua stopping him, that sword attack would have definitely hit the sixth knight. Of course, he would not kill the sixth knight, since it was a big battle with the beasts, and it would not be appropriate. There were more and more beasts, and their ranks were getting higher as well. Yi Chen jumped into the beast wave again, performing his lone peak kill again and again. Guolanhua took back her sight and said to the sixth knight, "You were too impulsive." Luckily, Yi Chen is not a bloodthirsty person. Otherwise, how would I explain to the management of the Moon Pavilion? Actually, she was the most shocked one. She had not expected that Yi Chen's sword arts would reach this level in such a short time. Even the sixth knight was not his opponent. No, he was not even qualified to be his opponent. If she could not recruit this scary young man into the Moon Pavilion, it would definitely be her biggest regret. The sixth knight let out a heavy breath. Such a horrifying sword art. Facing his sword art, I am like a kid, a joke. The fourth knight said seriously, "That is a killing sword. If you could not block that sword attack, you would have been killed. You are very lucky." Indeed. The sixth knight was still scared. Alright, now is not the time to chat. Let's kill as many beasts as we can. Do not let them get into the gold tripod city, Guolanhua said. The beast wave was different from the normal beasts. In the beginning, it was just the low-rank beasts which could be called cannon fodder. But in the middle and late stages, the beasts' ranks would be getting higher and higher. It was almost impossible to see any beasts below rank 3. Countless beasts would form into a beast wave, attacking the warriors of the gold tripod city again and again. Kill. Although this beast wave is dangerous, it is also a chance to make some money. If we gather all the materials from the beasts below rank 3, it would be an unimaginable fortune. The beasts above rank 3 would have their pellets, which would be even more valuable. By then, all the materials and pellets would be ours. If it were not for this fortune, I would not have come to the gold tripod city. It is too dangerous after all. If we are not careful, we might die. 20 million demonic beasts. This is not a martial arts competition. There was an unwritten rule in the True Spirit continent, which was that after the beast wave, all the materials and pellets would belong to the warriors who participated in the battle. No matter how powerful the others were, they would not have the right to interfere. Otherwise, they would be attacked by all the warriors in the world, which would not be good for their reputation. Although the rank 1 beast's materials were not that valuable, millions of them would be enough to make someone rich. Not to mention the rank 2 beasts, rank 3 beasts, and even rank 4 beasts. Of course, all this wealth would not be given to one person. It would belong to all the warriors who participated in the battle. But it would still be quite a lot. A lot of people would not be able to make that much money in 10 years. Shoo! 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 Beams of light shot out everywhere. There were astral-reaching realm warriors coming back from time to time. The horned dragon snake is indeed a powerful beast with the ancient beast bloodline. Even though it is wounded, it is still very powerful. On the way back, an astral-reaching realm warrior said emotionally. The astral-reaching realm warrior next to him said, during the beast wave, the beast's behavior would become more and more crazy. If it wants to run away, we would not be able to stop it. Alright, how are your wounds? Not bad. The main thing is that I had burned my Zhen Yuan and hurt my meridians. I will be able to recover after half a month. Hehe. Let's go check out the gold tripod city. The astral-reaching realm warriors were extremely fast. Soon they arrived in the sky outside the city. Yeah, everything is under control. Let's go to the city wall and watch the battle. Unless it is the last resort, we will not interfere if we can. Seeing the astral-reaching realm warriors appearing on top of the city wall and not helping out, the warriors down below did not complain at all. They knew very well that if the astral-reaching realm warriors used all of their power, the small beast wave would be destroyed soon, and they would not be able to do anything. However, the astral-reaching realm warriors were all proud. Before the gold tripod city was about to be destroyed, they would definitely not help out. The Black Crow Man and the Fire Spirit had also arrived. The Fire Spirit scanned around and soon found Wu Liangyu. He laughed. Your disciple is too reckless. He had found a top-rank 6 beast to fight with. The Black Crow Man followed his gaze and said helplessly, Liangyu has always been so powerful. Alright, let me see how powerful he is. Wu Liangyu's opponent was a top-rank 6 beast, the Black Wind Snake. It was hundreds of meters long and looked like a small hill when it was coiled up. Its tongue was like a flying sword making a hissing sound. Its power was no weaker than the Iron Scale beast, it might even be slightly more powerful. However, under Wu Liangyu's attack, it was soon covered with wounds. Its tail had also been cut off, and its blood had dyed the ground red. Die! Wu Liangyu's body flashed once, brushing past the Black Wind Snake's neck. Shoo! The Black Wind Snake's huge head fell down. Its thick and long body struggled for a while, but eventually stopped moving. The top-rank 6 beast, the Black Wind Snake, was killed by Wu Liangyu? How is this possible? Some of the warriors yelled out. That was a top-rank 6 beast. Although it did not have the ancient beast bloodline, it was still powerful enough to be compared to a peak-level late-class Bing Yuan realm warrior. Does this mean that Wu Liangyu has the power to kill a peak-level late-class Bing Yuan realm warrior? This year's hidden dragon rank, Wu Liangyu will definitely be able to shine. On the wall, the Black Crow Man smiled. Not bad, he had improved. He was able to kill the Black Wind Snake by himself. Even that little girl, Murong Qingcheng, could not do it. The Fire Spirit, my disciple. Turning around, the Black Crow Man was about to talk to the Fire Spirit, but he realized that the latter was looking somewhere else. Out of curiosity, the Black Crow Man also looked in that direction. In his sight, there was a teenager in blue walking in the beast wave. As he waved his sword, one after another, the beasts fell down one after another. Chapter 209. The Black Crow Man was shocked. Yi Chen's sword art was very simple, and it was only that one movement. But to be able to bring out such a powerful sword movement was definitely rare. Which martial institution is he from? How come I have never seen him before? All of a sudden, the Black Crow Man was confused. Black Crow, you have noticed it too. The Fire Spirit saw the expression on the Black Crow Man's face, so he chuckled. The Black Crow Man nodded. The Fire Spirit sighed. Right now, the young generation is indeed at its peak. Top martial geniuses are showing up one after another. I wonder who will be able to beat the rest of the generation and walk on the path of a king. Right now it is still hard to tell. Once they all reach the astral reaching realm, it will be clear who is more powerful. The Black Crow Man said. Yeah, you are right. The astral reaching realm is a challenge. More than 90% of the young generation will be eliminated. Oh woo! Yi Qin's massacre had finally attracted a top-rank 6 demonic beast. It was none other than the Wind Wolf, which had the bloodline of an ancient demonic beast. It was the tyrant of the rank 6 demonic beasts. Its whole body was surrounded by a heavy beast chi, which was gray in color. Only a slight bit of beast chi had spread out, and it had already frozen a lot of low-level warriors' bodies. Their blood froze as they were stomped on by countless demonic beasts. Right now, it is still a bit difficult for me to fight against it. The beasts with the ancient bloodline had an extremely powerful defense. Back in the Heaven Dream Ancient Place, Yi Qian had already seen it. Back then, the beasts were only at rank 3 or 4, and none of them had reached the top rank 6 level. The Wind Wolf had a huge body. Its 4 claws stood on the ground, and it opened its mouth and spat out a cloud of beast chi towards Yi Qian. Separate. Flashing his body, Yi Qin's real body walked out from the shadow. Crack. The Zhan Qi shadow was like a frozen block of ice. It started to crack inch by inch, as if it was a solid entity. Seeing this scene, Yi Qian was shocked. Let me help you. Out of nowhere, Guolanhua, the 4th knight, and the 6th knight appeared nearby. It was the 4th knight who had spoken. Yi Qian dodged the attacks of the wind wolves one after another and said, You can come, but Guolanhua and him should not come. With his powerful soul power, Yi Qian could tell that the 4th knight was a top-tier young warrior. Even if he was weaker than him, it would not be by much. As for Guolanhua and the 6th knight, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. With the addition of 4th knight to the battle, Yi Qian felt much more relaxed, and could even counterattack occasionally. Qi. The sword Qi cut open the wind wolf's protective demonic aura, and left a shallow sword mark on its skin. Compared to the huge body of the wind wolf, the sword mark was almost negligible. Yi Qian frowned. Although he knew that the wind wolf's defense was very high, he didn't expect it to be this high. This battle was going to be very difficult. Earth Dragon Strike. The 4th knight pressed both of his hands on the ground, and an earth dragon made of mud rose up into the sky, and crashed towards the lunar wind wolf. The earth dragon dispersed, while the wind wolf remained unscathed. Howl. Possessing the bloodline of the ancient demonic beast, the wind wolf was very proud. Those barely visible wounds on its skin had angered it. It raised up its right claw and slammed down heavily. The ground was shaking. With the wind wolf's right claw as the starting point, spiderweb-like cracks started to spread out, covering both Yi Qian and the 4th knight. The next second, the demonic qi that froze their lungs rushed out from the ground, rampaging everywhere. Danger! Yi Qian was most afraid of the wind wolf's demonic qi without a doubt. That demonic qi contained horrifying yin qi, which could easily freeze a warrior's blood and muscles. Once hit by it, unless someone came to save him, he would be killed instantly by the wind wolf's next attack. His body exploded, and Yi Qian turned into dozens of shadows and spread out. His real body was the fastest. Crack, 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 crack. Without even looking, Yi Qian could tell that most of his Zhan Qi shadows had been frozen by the demonic qi. With just a slight touch, they would be shattered into pieces. Looking at where the 4th knight was, Yi Qian let out a breath. Facing the demonic qi explosion, the 4th knight did not choose to run away. Instead, she punched on the ground and created a huge mud ball, covering her up. That mud ball contained a huge amount of Zhan Qi, and had an amazing defense. However, it was also frozen at the moment, with a cold gray light on its surface. The mud ball exploded and the 4th knight jumped out from it. Her face was slightly pale. Around them, a lot of warriors were attracted by this battle. Wow, 2 young warriors fighting against the wind wolf. How brave! What's the use of having courage? If this continues, they will die for sure. Yeah, the biggest difference between the wind wolf and normal top rank 6 demonic beasts is that it has the bloodline of the ancient demonic beast. Its body's defense is insane. Without enough attacking power, no one would be able to win against it. Shoo! Right then, a pitch-black cutting wave landed on the wind wolf's body. The wind wolf's body slightly tilted, and a long and narrow mark appeared on its body. It was very shallow, and it did not even break through the skin. It is Wu Liangyu. He is here as well. The gathering of the top 3 young warriors had attracted even more attention. Flapping his wings, Wu Liangyu floated in the air, his eyebrows slightly frowning. He had been wanting to see a top-rank 6 beast with the ancient demonic beast bloodline for a long time. With 4 blades, he performed the death tornado at the same time, turning it into a death tornado. The cutting waves had been piled up crazily, forming a pitch-black tornado. It landed on the Wind Wolf's body within a second, brutally attacking. The lunar Wind Wolf was continuously pushed back by the waves of attacks. The huge pressure caused the ground to completely collapse and explode. It was a complete mess. However, its eyes quickly turned red, and its originally gloomy demonic aura was replaced by a faint bloody aura. It immediately blocked the attacks. Chapter 210. The Wind Wolf is going to use its bloodline power. The elder called Old Zhao said with a serious tone. The man next to him said, I have heard about the bloodline power, but I have never seen it before. The ancient beast bloodline is indeed very powerful. However, the Wind Wolf does not have much bloodline power. Can only use it once or twice at most. Oh, the tornado disappeared, and all of the blood chi on the Wind Wolf's body gathered at its throat. It stepped on the ground with its 4 claws and stretched its body, letting out a destructive roar towards the sky. The roar turned into a sound wave ball, expanding with the Wind Wolf as the center. That speed was so fast that it could not even be described as lightning. All of a sudden, time seemed to have slowed down. Everyone's expression froze on their faces. Some of them were still in the position of killing the beasts, their blood splashing everywhere in the air. Among the crowd, only Yi-chan was shocked. The roar of the Wind Wolf could affect a warrior's sense of time. He, who had learned the poetic perspective of mountains and rivers, saw something different from the others. The mountain was still the mountain, and the water was still the water. The speed of the blood splashing was not slow at all, and it had already landed on the ground. Boom! His body exploded, and Yi-chan turned into countless shadows, shooting out towards the outside. The next second, the sound wave ball expanded to hundreds of meters wide, then turned into a tornado. Within the attack range, no matter if it was a warrior or a beast, all of them started to bleed and their bodies were blown away. The next second, an even more horrifying scene happened. More than half of the warriors and beasts were blown into pieces, turning into blood mist. Although Yi-chen's speed was fast, he was still not as fast as the sound wave ball expanding. He had only been grazed by it, and his ears started to bleed immediately. His heart was beating like a drum, as if it was going to jump out of his chest and explode. With a leap, Yi-chan had escaped from the most dangerous area. Turning his head, Yi-chan saw dozens of human figures shooting out in all directions, including Wu Liangyu and the 4th Knight. As for the others, their bodies had already been shattered by the sound wave, leaving no bones behind. Wah! Landing heavily on the ground, Wu Liangyu and the 4th Knight looked like ghosts. Blood could not stop flowing out of their eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. They had just lifted up their upper bodies when they puked out a huge mouthful of blood. On the city wall, the fire spirit said strangely, Black Crow, this attack is not simple. You could have stopped it. The Black Crow Taoist shook his head. It's better to let him suffer some setbacks. He won't die anyway. That's really your style. But I seem to have some impression of that blue-clothed young man. A couple of months ago, I boarded the ocean beast of the South Chamber of Commerce on the Wild Goose Falling River. He was on that ship. The Black Crow Man did not pay too much attention to his disciple Wu Liangyu. His eyes landed on Yi-chan, who was the only one who was not injured. The fire spirit said, in a one-on-one fight, he might not be able to beat your disciple. But when it comes to survival skills, your disciple will never be able to catch up with him. Yeah, that is exactly what Wu Liangyu lacks. A real powerful warrior cannot be achieved with just training. He has to go through all kinds of hardships to get a heart of gold. The Wind Wolf's roar had killed hundreds of warriors and hundreds of beasts. Its power was definitely horrifying. Even old Zhao, who was far away, would have to step back when facing the full power roar of the Wind Wolf. not daring to face it directly. However, being too powerful did not come without a price. The light in the Windwolf's eyes had dimmed a lot. Obviously, using its bloodline power by force had taken a huge toll on it. Now is the best chance to kill it. Old Zhao was very experienced, so he mumbled to himself. Right at that moment someone attacked. That burning fire wave attacked him. Meng Chao laughed out loud. This Windwolf, let me take care of it. Red burning godly palm. A red flame appeared on the Zhanqi giant palm as it landed heavily on the Windwolf's body. Boom! The Windwolf's 4 limbs were bent and sunk into the ground, bringing up dust everywhere. Die now! Meng Chao knew that this was his chance to become famous. He pushed his red burning godly art to its limit, and a sun-like fire exploded around his body. In that fire, both of his hands looked like they were filled with lead. Each palm was heavier than the previous one, continuously landing on the Windwolf's body. The red fire wave spread out everywhere, burning the ground into crystals. The Windwolf kept roaring and struggling, trying to get up. But Meng Chao did not give it a chance to breathe at all, suppressing it with all his might. On the side, Yichun did not do anything. With his soul power, he could sense that the Windwolf's blood qi had not completely disappeared. Instead, it had been scattered into all of its limbs and merged into its body. Right now, after being suppressed by Meng Chao, that blood qi was showing signs of gathering together. Haha die. Although it was a bit unfair, Meng Chao was indeed in a good mood right now. The Windwolf that had beaten Wu Liangyu to the point where he could not even fight back was now in his hands. No matter what, it was still an honor that could not be taken away. Yichun frowned. That blood qi had gathered together, and was all concentrated on the Windwolf's right claw. Because the right claw had sunk into the ground, no one had noticed it except for him. Crack! The ground was torn open, and a blood-red claw light shot out of the ground, grabbing onto Meng Chao's protective Zhanqi layer. Under the invasion of the bloodline power, Meng Chao's protective Zhanqi was extremely weak, and was easily torn into pieces. With a loud clang, Meng Chao opened his mouth and spat out a large amount of blood and small pieces of flesh. His whole body was blown away in shock and crashed into the beast tide, killing a few beasts along the way. Meng Chao. On the city wall, the great master of the alchemist martial school flashed his body and traveled thousands of meters to save Meng Chao from the beast wave. Even Meng Chao had fainted. I can only say that the Windwolf is too cunning. He did not expect that he would still have some tricks up his sleeves. Only one warrior from the young generation is still standing. How unexpected! In everyone's mind among the young generation that had come to the Gold Tripod City, Wu Liangyu, the fourth knight, Meng Chao, and Yichun were the most powerful. Right now, Wu Liangyu and the fourth knight were badly wounded and had lost most of their battling power. Meng Chao had fainted and had been taken away by the great master of the alchemist martial school. Right now, only Yichun in blue was not wounded at all. The blood qi has disappeared completely. Attack! The second he decided to attack, Yichun cleared his mind. All of the sounds in the world had been pushed out, and he had entered an empty realm that was very hard to enter. Without any desire, Yichun pushed his separating shadow flying art to its limit. In the first half of the journey one could still see a light shadow, but in the second half, he had completely disappeared from everyone's sight. Only that light pattern in the air proved that he was still there. Lone peak kill. When he was only 3 meters away from the Windwolf, Yichun took out his star scar sword, stabbing it right into its throat. The Windwolf could only watch it happen. It had been badly wounded, so it could not dodge it at all. Its mind had been slowed down a lot. When it realized what was happening, the tip of the sword had already pierced into its skin. The second the sword pierced in, Yichun shook his wrist. The 11th movement of the Lone Peak 13 swords had been infused into his sword movement. Kill. It was easy to stab in. The Windwolf's body defense was indeed powerful, but the inside of its body was undoubtedly the weakest point. Even if it had the bloodline of an ancient beast, it would still be impossible to train its internal organs and muscles to the same level as its body surface defense. It was already going against all logic. As the sword pierced in, the sword qi that contained the sword intent exploded violently, crazily cutting the inside of the Windwolf's throat. If one could see through it, One could see that the inside of the Wind Wolf's throat had already been badly mutilated. There was no throat tissue left, only tiny pieces of flesh that had been cut by the sword qi. Pooh! Pulling out the star-scar sword, Yi Chen's body exploded, turning into dozens of shadows and spreading out. Just as he had expected, the Wind Wolf had used its most powerful attack before it died. One claw had completely blown up the ground within 100 meters radius. The powerful claw power had penetrated deep into the ground. The muffled rumbling sound did not stop for even a second, and was getting further and further away. After using its most powerful attack, the Wind Wolf's life force seemed to have been sucked out along with it. The wound on its neck could not be controlled anymore. Blood poured out like a fountain, reaching dozens of meters long. Its huge body started to soften, lying on the ground not moving at all. A few hundred meters away, Yi Chen was breathing heavily. So tired. That sword attack seemed to have merged with the one-sword kill. I wonder how he did it. With only the Lone Peak kill combined with the 11th movement of the Lone Peak 13 swords, the most he could do was wound the Wind Wolf, but he would never be able to kill it with one sword attack. After all, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Even without the strange blood qi and part of Yuan qi, the Wind Wolf was still one of the tyrants of the rank 6 beasts. It would not be easy to kill it. From the way Meng Chao was beating the Wind Wolf, it could be seen that a beast of this level would not be killed with 2 or 3 attacks. At that moment, Yi Chen, who had fallen into the empty realm, had instinctively performed the one-sword kill. Then, somehow it had merged with the Lone Peak kill and stabbed into it with his mind. It was the second when he had merged with the one-sword kill that he had been able to merge with the 11th movement of the Lone Peak 13 swords. However, it would be impossible for Yi Chen to do it again. Right now his mind was a mess and he did not know the details at all. If I could train that sword attack, even if I might not be invincible under the astral reaching realm, I would at least be one of the top warriors. Unfortunately, I do not have enough experience. It was luck that I was able to perform it once. If I want to perform it again, I would have to rely on my confidence. Yi Chen shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He killed the Wind Wolf with one sword attack. I thought it would be a tough battle. Some warriors mumbled to themselves. His attacking power had increased drastically. It seems like he had made a huge breakthrough in that one day and one night of battling. I am so jealous. How come I did not make a breakthrough? If even you could make a breakthrough, then it would be so worthless. Only 1 out of 10,000 people could make a breakthrough in an endless battle. It would be one of the rare battling martial geniuses. After the Wind Wolf had died, everyone started to talk about it. Without a doubt, the center of the discussion was Yi Chen, who had descended like a star. Although no one knew his name, they all thought that he had the power to be in the top 20 of the Hidden Dragon rank, and was qualified to compete with the top martial geniuses in the South Rudra region. The power of that sword attack had already surpassed mine. Zhao's eyes were bright as he looked at Yi Chen. His friend said, "Is he that powerful? Killing a rank 6 tyrant beast with one attack. As far as I know, there are no more than 10 clasping Yuan realm warriors in the South Rudra region who could do that. Of course, he is not even in the top 10, because those 10 people were all facing a rank 6 tyrant beast at its peak, not the Wind Wolf that had lost its bloodline power and a part of its Yuan Qi. But it is already horrifying. He is only at the mid-clasping Yuan realm. If he could reach the late-clasping Yuan realm, or even the peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm, I wonder how horrifying he would be." Zhao explained. Chapter 211. The night passed and the morning arrived. The first beam of sunlight poured down from the dark clouds formed by the beast Qi, bringing a ray of light to the battlefield. "Buddy, we should go rest. You and I both know about the consequence of taking too many pellets." "You are right. The Zhan Qi quality is dropping. Let's go back to the gold tripod city and rest for a bit." Warriors were not like beasts. Without the advantage of Zhan Qi, their attacking power would drop drastically. But even without the beast Qi, the beasts still had their powerful bodies. Therefore, when the warriors reached their limit, they would immediately go back to the gold tripod city to train their Zhan Qi, trying to recover their attacking power. The rest of the warriors who could still fight would continue to fight and wait for their turn. Because of this, the warriors in the gold tripod city were at a disadvantage, and the number of casualties had increased drastically. It is time for us to attack. The fire spirit stood up. The Black Crow Man performed his Black Crow great art, and a pair of pitch-black wings grew out of his back. He nodded and said, "The beast's endurance is way beyond human warriors. If we do not attack now, the rest of the warriors will not be able to survive. But we cannot kill them all." After communicating with each other, all of the astral-reaching realm warriors started to attack. Death Tornado. It was exactly the same movement as Wu Liangyu, but it was performed by the Black Crow Man. However, it was 10 times more powerful. With one attack, at least thousands of beasts had been torn apart, and a huge area had been flattened. It was as easy as eating and drinking. Flowing Fire Blade. The fire spirit's power was not any weaker than the Black Crow Man's. While he was walking, countless flame-like giant light blades were shot out, killing the beasts as if they were grass. That kind of casual and elegant artistic conception had shocked all the warriors who were still fighting on the battlefield. This is the power of an astral-reaching realm warrior? There is no way to fight back. No wonder Thunder Freer said that even if I trained my sword intent to completion and am at peak level late clasping Yuan realm, I would only be able to run away and would not be able to fight back. After 1 day and 1 night, Yichun had not gone back to the city to rest at all. He had been fighting until now. For him, this kind of opportunity was hard to come by. If he did not try, he would definitely regret it. Seeing the astral-reaching realm warriors attacking, he did not know where the energy came from. His mental state had recovered to its peak, and there was even a sign of a breakthrough. Haha. Why are you saving your Zhenyuan? Just use a few big moves and it'll be over. In the sky, an astral-reaching realm warrior flew to an extremely high place. He slowly raised both of his hands, as if he was holding something. All of a sudden, a thunderball shining with silver lightning appeared between his 2 hands. The thunderball expanded in the wind, and within a breath's time, it had expanded to dozens of meters in size. At first glance, one would think that he was holding a silver sun shining with lightning. Thunder explosion. He roared and swung the huge ball of lightning down. Rumble. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Miles in the distance turned into a world of thunder and lightning. Right after that, an endless bright light blossomed, lighting up thousands of miles in radius. All the martial artists below the astral-reaching realm hurried to close their eyes. They suspected that if they looked directly at that sun-like light, they would go blind. When he opened his eyes again, the world of thunder and lightning had disappeared. The remaining electric currents in the air were still crackling and roaming, and the demonic beasts that were trapped in it could not even be seen. Even the ground tens of meters deep had turned into nothingness. So powerful. He is at least at the late astral-reaching realm, and he managed to kill tens of thousands of beasts with one attack. A lot of people were shocked. The Black Crow Man and the Fire Spirit looked at each other. Let's see who can kill more beasts with one attack. No burning of Zhenyuan. I have trained the fire element Zhenqi. My attacking range is definitely above yours. Then let's compete. The horrifying battlefield was obviously a place for astral-reaching realm warriors to play games. They started to compete with each other, throwing out their ace attacks one after another. Every time they could kill thousands or even tens of thousands of beasts. With Yi Chen's current cultivation, he could only kill about 100 beasts with one attack. But of course, the attacking power could not be measured by the attacking range. For example, Yi Chen's biggest attacking range was the tornado, which could kill almost 100 beasts with one attack. However, the lone peak kill could only kill a couple of beasts or even one beast. But it was still not as powerful as the lone peak kill. On the contrary, the tornado was nowhere as powerful as the lone peak kill. The two could not be compared at all. Even so, facing an astral-reaching realm warrior with a cultivation of peak-level late clasping Yuan realm, it was not hard to imagine the disadvantage of facing an astral-reaching realm warrior. After all, the opponent would be able to cover a huge area with only one attack. How could one escape? Even if one managed to escape, one would be exhausted and unable to do anything. Reaching this level, Yichun had to think about how to deal with astral-reaching realm warriors. In less than 15 minutes, the number of beasts on the battlefield had been reduced by more than half. The remaining beasts were still a couple of times more than the warriors from the gold tripod city. Kill! Kill! Before, when the astral-reaching realm warriors were showing off their power, everyone had taken a break, including Yi-chan. Right now, the number of beasts had been reduced by more than half, which was definitely a good thing. Shoo! 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 Killing a beast with one sword attack was obviously not that many compared to the other clasping Yuan realm warriors. However, Yi-chan's sword attack frequency was unimaginably high. With each breath, his body would travel 200 to 300 meters among the beasts. In the process, he had thrown out 67 sword attacks and killed 67 beasts. The efficiency of killing beasts was almost as high as his wide-range sword attack. Tornado broken clouds. Standing on top of a massive beast's body, Yi-chan looked out. The outside of the gold tripod city had been dyed red. On the bloody ground, the number of beasts was less than 1,000,000, and the number of human warriors was around 400,000. Adding half of the warriors in the city, it would be 800,000. Out of the 2 million warriors, only 800,000 were left. The death toll had reached a shocking 1,200,000, which was definitely a terrifying number. Without reaching the clasping Yuan realm, it would be like dancing on the edge of a knife in this kind of large-scale battlefield. The good thing is that the gold tripod city is only this big, so the beasts would not be able to squeeze in all the way. If it were on the grassland without any obstacles, 20 million beasts could easily kill 2 million warriors. Waving his sword and killing a beast that jumped on him, Yi-chan continued to kill. Alright, I have been suppressing it all this time. It is time for you to taste the real power of the lone peak kill. Shaking his wrist, Yi-chan stabbed his sword into the neck of the bull-type beast. Pooh! Dozens of beasts in a straight line had all been pierced through by the sword chi, which was as fast as lightning. Although this attack of mine is a close combat sword attack, it does not mean that it can only kill one target. With the help of the lone peak kill, the sword chi has a horrifying piercing power. Before, Yi-chan did not use it because he wanted to try it out. Plus, there were too many beasts, so it would be better to control the consumption of Zhen Qi. But now that the number of beasts had decreased drastically, Yi-chan did not have to worry so much anymore. He could just kill as much as he wanted. As the number of beasts decreased, the dark clouds formed by the beast chi in the sky had been dispersed. The golden sunlight shone down, brightening up the whole place. Ah! In the distance, in the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood, a lot of human-shaped blood mist suddenly screamed. As soon as the sunlight shone on them, they were burned into smoke. What is that? Including Yi-chan, a lot of people could not believe their eyes. On the city wall, the fire spirit forced a smile. Indeed, there will be blood demons in a big battle. The Black Crow Man said. It is very hard to form a blood demon. It cannot be directly hit by the sunlight, and it needs to have enough blood and hatred. These blood demons are all low-rank blood demons, nothing to worry about. Just as the voice of the Black Crow Taoist priest faded away, cyan smoke rose from the lake-like blood water. After that, a blood shadow couldn't help but rush out of the water, and rush towards the shadowy corner. This blood shadow was shone upon by the sunlight, and smoke rose from its body as well. However, it was different from the human-shaped blood mist. His body didn't dissipate all of a sudden. Instead, it slowly melted like a snowman under the scorching sun. Even a low-rank blood demon has formed. Some of the astral-reaching realm warriors were a bit surprised. Look, there is even a mid-rank blood demon. One of them reached out his hand and pointed at the dark corner of the corpse mountain. There was also a blood shadow there. It looked like a human, but the facial features were a bit blurry. Shoo! A rank 5 beast was passing by, but it did not have the time to escape before it was jumped on by the blood shadow. Something shocking happened. This blood shadow somehow managed to drill into the beast's body without any hindrance. After a while it rushed out. The blood light on its body was even brighter, and its facial features seemed to be a bit clearer. Meanwhile, the rank 5 beast behind it had turned into a dried-up corpse. Such an evil existence. No wonder I saw a lot of human dried-up corpses at night. I thought they were killed by the beasts that specialized in sucking human blood. Yi-chan frowned. As the dark clouds of beast chi dissipated, more blood shadows appeared, attacking towards the beasts. As for the human warriors, they were too far away from there. Plus, they were under the sunlight, so none of the blood shadows attacked. If I am not mistaken, these blood demons have been formed since yesterday. They increase their cultivation by swallowing the blood of beasts and humans. Luckily, there are no high-rank blood demons. Otherwise, even with all of our power, we might not be able to stop them. Let's kill them now, just in case it causes more trouble. The fire spirit flashed his body and arrived in the middle of the battlefield within a couple of breaths. He threw out a casual attack. That flame-like blade chi seemed to be the nemesis of the blood demons. Once it touched them, they would be burned into nothingness. Too careless. The Black Crow Man shook his head and flew into the battlefield as well. The other astral-reaching realm warriors started to attack as well. They all looked very serious, worried about the appearance of a high-rank blood demon. Although it was not that easy to form a high-rank blood demon, there were too many top-ranked beasts and warriors on the battlefield. As long as they swallowed enough blood of the same rank, they might be able to create a high-rank blood demon. As the astral-reaching realm warriors attacked, they also took care of the beasts. They did not want to leave any blood for the blood demons to grow stronger. Yi-chan and the rest of the warriors went back to the wall of the gold tripod city and watched the scene down below. Boom! The fire spirit had the most destructive power for the blood demons. With one attack, none of the blood demons could escape. Even after all the blood demons had been killed, the astral-reaching realm warriors still did not let their guard down. They started to use their Zhenyuan to evaporate the blood. As for the smaller ones, they did not care about it since the formation of the blood demons would require a huge amount of blood and hatred. Under the sunlight, the smaller ones would dry up very quickly. What everyone did not know was that there was also a huge amount of blood water in the deep underground. It was the blood that had seeped down from above, forming an underground blood river. Inside the blood river, a blood shadow appeared slowly. The face was very clear, just like a real person. He had a nasty smile on his face, and the expression in his eyes was as evil as one could imagine. It was like a combination of evil. Chapter 212. The battlefield was way too huge, it was hundreds of miles in radius. It was not until the afternoon that dozens of astral-reaching realm warriors managed to evaporate the blood river that had the potential to form a blood demon. Luckily, no top-rank blood demons appeared. The fire spirit said in relief. The Black Crow Man said, "There are different levels of top-rank blood demons. If it were a normal top-rank blood demon, I would be able to kill it for sure. If it were a bit more powerful, I think only your fire element Zhenyuan would be able to suppress it. As for the top-rank blood demons, I am afraid only the extremely rare Sun Zhenyuan would be able to suppress it." Another astral-reaching realm warrior walked over and laughed. Blood demons can increase their cultivation very fast in the early stages. Once they reach the top-rank blood demon level, even if they devour 100 blood essences of the same level, they would not be able to make much progress unless they devour extremely powerful essences or Seas of Souls realm warriors. Speaking of which, the blood demon's talents are way too powerful. We have spent decades to reach the astral-reaching realm, but for the blood demons, as long as they have enough essences, they would be able to reach the astral-reaching realm in a short period of time. The Black Crow Man laughed. I would rather train slower than become a blood demon. Before the blood demons reach the blood demon king level, they would always be afraid of sunlight, fire, and thunder. Even if they become a blood demon king, the Zhenyuan with the three elements would still be able to suppress them. Plus, you guys should not forget that the blood demons only increase their cultivation by devouring essences. Once their consciousness starts to get messed up, that would be the time for them to die. Yeah. The biggest weakness of the blood demons is that they can easily break down their consciousness. The more they devour, the faster their consciousness will break down. In the human area, almost none of the blood demons could become a blood demon king, and very few of them could become blood demon generals. However, after this incident, we have indeed been too careless. It seems like we have forgotten a lot of the horrifying records in the past 1,000 years. Everyone was speechless. In the human history, there were a few blood demon disasters. The first one was too far away from the modern era, which was in the ancient era. The second one was 50,000 years after the ancient era, and the third one was 1,000 years ago. The records for the first two were very vague since it was way too long ago. However, the third one was very detailed. Back then, the true spirit continent was at its peak. Almost every 3 days, there would be a small beast wave in every country. Every half a month there would be a medium beast wave in mid-sized countries, and every half a year there would be a large beast wave in the big countries. It had been like this for a whole year. In the endless battles, both the demonic beasts and humans had suffered great losses. The number had reached a horrifying 300 billion. The bloodlight had shot into the sky, turning the clouds in the sky red. The rain was also blood rain. A lot of warriors had been attacked by the blood light and turned into murderous maniacs. There were also a lot of people who had lost their minds and died. Such a horrifying environment was undoubtedly a paradise for the blood demons. Countless blood demons were born in the mountains of corpses and oceans of blood. At first, there were only a few of them, but because the humans did not manage to get rid of them in time, they continued to be born. Eventually, after the beast wave had ended, the number of blood demons had reached 100 million. Among them, there were hundreds of blood demon generals. Due to some special reasons, there was also an incomplete blood demon king. Perhaps for the whole human race, hundreds of blood demon generals and an incomplete blood demon king were not worth mentioning at all. But the disaster would not disappear just because the human race was powerful. 100 million blood demons had destroyed countless countries and devoured billions of human beings' blood. Even a lot of Sea of Souls realm warriors and a life and death realm warrior had been killed. It should be known that not even a single life and death realm warrior had died in that beast wave. From then on, as long as the scale of the battle was over 1 million people, there would be people who would specifically clean out the blood demons just in case. For some reason, many of the beast waves in the past did not produce any blood demons. Even if there were, it would only be a small group, and most of them would be low-rank blood demons. There would be very few low-rank blood demons. Perhaps it was because of this that people had become careless and did not pay much attention to the blood demons. Alright, the beast clouds have already disappeared. This area is completely under the sunlight, so there will not be any new blood demons. Let's go back. Yeah, there will be the army of the gold tripod city to clean up the battlefield. The dead bodies of the beasts on the battlefield were not complete. Many of them had already been shattered. But, if one collected them carefully, there would still be a lot of beast materials and pellets. On the wide street of the gold tripod city, Yichan and Guolanue were walking side by side, preparing to go back to their respective hotels. Before the beast wave happened, today would have been the annual auction of the gold tripod city. But now it might be delayed for a while. Guolanue smiled with her eyes squinted. Yichan said, I would like to digest some of my battle experience. After battling for a long time, there were a lot of things that he did not have the time to digest and understand. Yichan needed to train while his memory was still very clear, turning all of those experiences into his own power. You are indeed a training maniac. But our moon pavilion needs martial geniuses like you. Guolanue's eyes were filled with passion. She was sure that once Yichan joined the moon pavilion's 7 knights, he would be able to push the 7 knights to a whole new level, although he might not be as powerful as the 3rd knight right now. Yichan shook his head and said, Wait until I have a reason. Maybe I will join the moon pavilion. Right now, the moon pavilion is not attractive enough for me. For Yichan, everything he did must have a purpose. He could not do it blindly and irresponsibly. Right now, he did not have any reason or purpose to join the moon pavilion. The more Yichan rejected, the more anxious Guolanue was. She planned to report Yichan's situation to the management and the leader of the building as soon as she got back to the moon pavilion. They arrived at the hotel where Yichan was staying. After greeting each other, the two of them separated. Young warrior, the bath water is ready for you. Outside the guest room, the waiter said with respect. Tipping the waiter 10 silvers, Yichan pushed open the door and walked in. Inside the bathroom, Yichan relaxed and closed his eyes slightly. He tried to recall everything that happened on the battlefield. Maybe it was because of his soul power, but some of the details that he usually did not pay attention to were all recalled. For example, a certain sword attack, a certain dodge, a certain kill. There seems to be something wrong with the angle? The dodging route is too sloppy. The kill is not clean enough. The more he tried to recall, the more mistakes Yi-chan realized. It was not because his power had dropped but because he had been fighting way too often. Once or twice would be enough to keep him at his best condition, but after 1,000 or even tens of thousands of times, mistakes would be hard to avoid. Even for Yi-chan. Slowly letting out a mouthful of dirty air that did not exist, Yi-chan opened his eyes and mumbled to himself, "There sure are a lot of mistakes. This is what humans are like, full of uncertainty." Swoosh. Standing up from the bath, Yi-chan's slim and muscular body was vaguely visible under the cover of the steam. Right now he was already 17 years old, and his body was basically fully developed, which made him look even more powerful and explosive. Changing into clean clothes, Yi-chan went back to his bedroom and started to meditate and train quietly. On the battlefield that was filled with dead bodies, groups of fully armed soldiers were collecting the materials and pellets from the dead bodies of the beasts. Right next to them were huge wooden carts. So many beast materials, how much money would it cost? How about we hide a few beast pellets, the kind of high-grade ones? I advise you not to do anything stupid. Can't you see that someone is watching? If you are discovered, you will be executed immediately. Hehe, I am just joking. This kind of joke is not funny. The beast wave was taken care of by the warriors who participated in the battle. We did not contribute much, and it is not like we got nothing. As long as we collect all the beast materials and pellets, we will all get about 5%. If we split it evenly, it would be equivalent to 1 or 2 months of our income. So just do what you are supposed to do and don't think about anything else. The old captain of the soldiers advised patiently. Deep underground. Inside the blood river. The blood shadow sensed the aura of the humans on the ground and was a bit restless. After a long time it calmed down. No, these humans are too weak. Devouring their blood will only do me more harm than good. It will only make me collapse faster. Never mind, I will rest in the blood river for a while and try to consolidate my power. Blood demons were a strange kind of existence. They were born from the essence and resentment in blood. The information in their minds was very complicated, but there was no doubt that once they reached a certain level, they would be able to organize the complicated information and produce a unique intelligence. Laughing viciously, the blood shadow slowly sank into the blood river. Days passed by, and Yi-chan was still in the closed-door training mode. On the 5th day, a sharp intent burst out in the guest room, and the calm air started to ripple. Break. Opening his eyes, 2 beams of sword chi shot out from his eyes. Yi-chan opened his mouth and shouted with a low voice. "Hu!" The air ripple was cut open quickly, and a vague sword shadow flashed and disappeared. This sword shadow could not be seen by others, but only Yi-chan could feel it. A faintly discernible sound was heard. Yi-chan raised his head and looked at it. The bonsai in front of him shook slightly, and its leaves drooped down. It seemed like an invisible power had killed all of its vitality, and it became lifeless. 30% sword intent is entry-level sword intent, and 99% is entry-level sword intent. Right now, I am at around 50% sword intent. Sword intent was something like an illusion. Normally it was hard to get into the beginner level, and it would be slightly easier in the later stages. Because before reaching the beginner level, one would not be able to feel its existence. Being able to learn the sword intent meant that one had to have a strong mind and a unique understanding of sword arts. Yi-chan had already learned the sword intent, and he had reached entry-level sword intent. He already had a certain understanding of the sword intent, which was why he knew what was needed for the growth of the sword intent and how to improve it. Without a surprise, the others were the same. However, it was only relatively easy in the later stages. A lot of people had limited potential, or because they were living in a small environment which made their sword intent stagnate. Therefore, there were very few people who could reach entry-level sword intent, and 1 in 10,000 would be able to reach entry-level sword intent. As for the completed sword intent, there were not that many people in the whole True Spirit continent. Therefore, no one knew what was beyond the completed sword intent. According to Yi-chen's understanding, the sword intent was a bit like a support tool. For example, a normal sword chi could cut a piece of steel, but if it contained the sword intent, it might be able to cut 2 pieces of steel. The reason was that the sword intent had changed the structure of the sword chi, which made the sword chi firmer and more destructive. However, the process of the sword intent changing the sword chi could not be affected by sword artists. Or in other words, with Yi Chen's current cultivation, he was not able to affect the sword intent yet. But of course the sword intent was not completely like a support tool. Because it was invisible, it could cut through the void, and could not be affected by any evil. Just like that attack just now, it seemed like it did not exist, but it had actually killed the bonsai instead of destroying it. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.